As a trucker stops for a red light, a blonde catches up. She jumps out of her car, runs up to his truck, and knocks on the door. The trucker lowers the window, and she says, "Hi, my name is Heather and you are losing some of your load." The trucker ignores her and proceeds down the street. When the truck stops for another red light, the girl catches up again. She jumps out of her car, runs up and knocks on the door. Again, the trucker lowers the window. As if they've never spoken, the blonde says brightly, "Hi, my name is Heather, and you are losing some of your load." Shaking his head, the trucker ignores her again and continues down the street. At the third red light, the same thing happens again. All out of breath, the blonde gets out of her car, runs up, knocks on the truck door. The trucker lowers the window. Again she says, "Hi, my name is Heather, and you are losing some of your load." When the light turns green, the trucker revs up and races to the next light. When he stops this time, he hurriedly gets out of the truck and runs back to the blonde. He knocks on her window, and as she lowers it, he says, "Hi, my name is Kevin, and I'm driving the salt truck." Two blondes were talking together. First, "How about your engaged Jim? Is he keeping well?" Second, "He isn't just now engaged." First, "Hi, good news. His nose was too big and his head was bald with an ugly face." Second, "He is now my husband." I've lived a few years in my home, and the pretty neighbor next door and I always flirted with each other, despite her being married. One day, when speaking to her husband, he said, "I need to have my apartment painted, but I work all day and I get tired." I tried to hire a professional painter, but the guy asked me for an arm and a leg. At that moment, I just had a brilliant idea. Don't sweat it, neighbor. I'm on vacation and painting walls is my favorite hobby. It would be a pleasure to do this task. The husband accepted the offer gladly. I don't want to brag about my conversation skills, but I barely started to paint the apartment and I already had that woman in bed with me. But, bad luck. We were just starting and I did not expect the husband to forget his documents and that, for that reason, he had to return home at that specific moment. The neighbor, listening to her husband opening the door, runs to the bathroom, and the guy enters the room and finds me, at the top of the ladder, with my brush on the wall, painting. Screaming, he shouts at me, "What the heck is this? You started painting in my bedroom, and naked?" "Hey, buddy, I'm working for free, so I can start wherever I want. But naked? You really wanted me to stain my new clothes with paint? And with a boner? And just where am I going to hang the darn bucket?" Dave got called to the director's office. "Dave, we have to make some cutbacks, either Jack or Sarah has to be laid off." "This is really hard," Dave says. "Sarah is my best worker, but Jack has 3 kids to support." The director gives him a day to think about it. Later that day he calls Sarah to his office. "Sarah, I've got a real problem. I've got to either lay you or jack off." Sarah thinks for a moment. "You should probably jack off. I'm on my period." A small-town man decides to go to the city. He's a self-sufficient guy, so this is a rare occurrence. However, finding himself low on essentials, he decides there's nothing for it and heads in. Being something of a special occasion, he takes his youngest child with him, thinking it was the perfect chance to show off his knowledge of the world outside to an eager audience. On the trip in, they chatter away until they arrive at their first stop, the bakery. Pulling up, the little one excitedly asks where they are. "Why, this is John the baker, youngest. You see, when Dad doesn't make any bread, John makes it for him." The little one stares at him wide-eyed and asks, "Is it as good as yours?" With a small grin he replies, "No, mine is better." And off he went to get the bread. Arriving at their next stop, the little one again queries where they are. "Why, this is Ted's liquor store, youngest. You see, when Dad doesn't make any beer, Ted makes it for him." The little one stares at him, thinking hard, and asks, "Is it as good as yours?" With a bigger grin he replies, "No, mine is better," and off he went to get some beer. At their final stop, the butcher's shop, the little one thinks the world makes a lot more sense now. So then Dad. His smallest child begins, and looks at him expectantly. "Yes, that's right, little one. This is Tom the butcher. And when Dad hasn't made any sausages." He trails off. "Tom makes them for you?" she asks hesitantly. "Yes, that's right. You are a smart one," he exclaimed. "And yours are better," she shouts. Beaming with pride he says, "Exactly." And away he goes to collect some sausages from Tom. On the road home they pass the postal truck coming the other way. "Hey, Dad," exclaimed the little one. "It's Pete the postman." "Yes, that's right," said the farmer, but sensing what comes next he quickly continued, "But we need Pete. Your dad is a farmer and can do a lot of things, but I can't do what Pete does." "Oh yes," she replied, "Mom says so too." A woman's closet door was making terrible sounds whenever a bus was crossing the street outside, so she called a carpenter to check it out. The carpenter comes to see what's the problem, but sees nothing. Right then a bus is crossing the street and a loud creaking sound is heard coming from the closet. He can't believe it, so strange. Says the carpenter to the wife. "How unusual. Perhaps if I sit inside before the next bus comes I can see what's making such a noise inside." The wife thinks it's a good idea, if sorry for his time. The carpenter goes inside the closet and gets comfortable, looking at the wood. A few minutes later the husband arrives home. While the wife is in the bathroom, he goes into the bedroom and opens the closet. To his shock, there's a man sitting inside. He throws a look to the bathroom, and then slowly turns his face to the carpenter with murder in his eyes. "What the heck are you doing in my house, in my closet?" he growls ominously. Well? The carpenter swallows nervously. "Would you believe me if I told you I'm waiting for the bus?" As the crowded elevator descended, Mrs. Wilson became increasingly furious with her husband, who was delighted to be pressed against a gorgeous blonde. As the elevator stopped at the main floor, the blonde suddenly whirled, slapped Mr. Wilson, and said, "That will teach you to pinch." Bewildered, Mr. Wilson was halfway to the parking lot with his wife when he choked, I didn't pinch that girl." "Of course you didn't," said his wife, consolingly. "I did." A blonde went to the electronics store and she asked, "How much is this TV?" The salesman said, "Sorry, we don't sell to blondes." The next day she came back as a brunette. She asked the salesman how much the TV was. He said, "Sorry, we don't sell to blondes." The next day she came back as a redhead and asked the salesman how much the TV was. He said, "Sorry, we don't sell to blondes." She replied, "I came in here as a brunette and a redhead." "How do you know I am a blonde?" "Because that is not a TV, it's a microwave." Hey there, I put a lot effort into making these videos, so please subscribe for more jokes and stay happy, thank you.